All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of What's What BR. Today we have a special guest with us today. We've got JT Taylor. JT, how's it going, man?
Good, man. Glad you are having me back.
Oh, we appreciate it, man. We get more exciting news this time, though. So,
Yeah, it is. It's a little different, little bit different conversation we'll be having this time.
yeah, we'll switch that hat. If anybody remembers, JT came on and was talking to us because he, heads up tourism over in Livingston Parish. But we've got a little bit of a different story today. You want to kind of fill everybody, what's going on? We've got a race, and
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. Last time I don't know, it was several months ago. Me and you spoke, and it was something I'd been thinking about doing, and I've had people approach me in the past about possibly running for political office, and nothing just wasn't the right timing for me. And this time, man, it just everything worked out. We prayed about it and talked to my family and got the approval. So I officially threw my hat in the race for town of Livingston here, where actually the parish seat in Livingston Parish, but going to be running for mayor here in the town of Livingston. The election is November 3rd, presidential election. So I'm excited about it. Knew it. Always, been doing it for a long time. It was something I would eventually do, get involved in politics. My job that I do now kind of is leading to that. But I felt like, it's perfect time and everything just kind of lined up. So we're throwing the hat in the race and working for it and see what happens.
Awesome. Well, tell me, what is that? We kind of talked a little bit, there's got to be, politics is almost want to use almost the word almost came violent, almost came out of my mouth, but it's pretty
Yeah.
close. Politics can get pretty violent these days, and like you said, pray about it, talk to family about it. It's not just you, that's on the stage. It's the whole family. So everybody's got to go all in. What
Oh,
made you decide to, hey, we're going to do this, and now's the time to do it.
yeah, no doubt. I mean, like I said, it was something I knew I'd always do. And I had thought, yeah, I'm gonna do this without really sitting down and talking to my family about it. And at one point, about a year and a half ago, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna run, and that was me, me talking without really sitting down with my family. So I kind of backed off a little bit, like, okay, this is a big decision for me. This is something that it's not just me out there. This is my wife, my three boys, my mother and father, my grandparents, my sisters. It's everybody. So I had to sit down with them and talk to them about it, and it was something we decided. Like again, I always knew. I grew up in a family of ministers, so from missionaries to pastors to doing outreaches. So I was always taught how to love and serve people, no matter how they treated you. Kind of Bible, turn the other cheek kind of deal, and I think it just leads. And then my family got into politics. My grandfather, my uncle got into politics, and me getting into tourism. I started doing that, and I deal a lot with state legislators, deal with them on the federal level, and I really enjoyed the whole process. Just meeting
Mm-hmm.
people. I love sitting down, meeting people, building relationships with them, and it was something over time after talking and realizing what they do to make a difference. A lot of times people they ask me, man, why do you want to leave the job you have now? Because it's a great job. I get to do a lot of amazing things, get to travel some, and meet a lot of people. But why do you want to get into politics and leave it? And I think now, man, is more important than ever. I mean, you see it on media, social media, the distress and things that everybody's going through here in our country. Now is the most important time for us to get involved to make that difference, especially locally. I think locally in a small community, in my opinion, from what I see dealing with, like, again, with our state and federal level, I think that locally you can make a real big difference and be that change that you want to see.
Absolutely. It's funny. It may not be right on target, but as you were talking, it reminded me of Zig Ziglar used to say he gets up every morning and reads his Bible and then goes to see what the other side's up to and reads the paper, so,
Yeah,
so,
no doubt.
but no, it takes a lot, and I think people can be, I was talking with Congressman Graves that day, and we were talking about, the people, we're the government, it's all of us, it's the government's for us. It's not we didn't hire a consulting firm, to come in, and that's at the federal level all the way down to the local level. And you can make a difference if someone, if you're willing to jump out there, and actually do some of the stuff.
Well,
You
I
know,
think you said it right there too, as well. And growing up in a minister's family and learning how to love and serve people. Sometimes we lose sight when I say we, public officials, political leaders, they lose sight. We are here to serve our communities, our citizens. We're here to work for them. I think sometimes we get caught up and lose sight in the fact that we're supposed to do that and kind of get in our own little bubble and do our thing and don't communicate, how we need to communicate to our citizens. Don't inform them how we should be informing them. And it's a disconnect. And my goal is to come back and reconnect with my community, have that sense of pride where I would sit on porches with people and talk to them. How's it going? What's going on? How can I help you solve the problems that you're seeing? And it's a lot easier said than done. I mean, let's not act like I'm gonna get in there and boy, I'm gonna solve all of those problems. But that's kind of what I see that needs to be done more.
I always find it, and I find it amazing sometimes when you see people running for office and they start having the town halls and they start having all the meetups and, they have people come to everybody's house and it's like, what do you want to see? What do you want to see? And it's funny that it dries up after the election. It's like, well, wait a minute. How, we elected you, you had us come over, we went to we went to all the different community, we went to the rally or you came to so-and-so's house and you asked what we wanted. And then we elect you and then gone. It's like, well, wait, what? Shouldn't we maybe meet once a month like we were before, to kind of still get some of that feedback?
And I think, too, what it is, I mean, you were talking earlier about just being genuine and caring, that as a leader, as a political leader, if I'm privileged enough to be mayor here, I think it's my job also to set a vision for this town and bring people on board. So if, let's say a town hall, are you talking about that? And we have people come and talk about it. This is what I want. This is what I want. This is what I want. Well, as a political leader, if that's not your passion or what you want, a lot of times you will lose sight of that. So that's where it is important to be involved in your community. Have kind of a pulse on your community. What do we need? What do we want? I'm listening to you, but I really care. And I want that same thing. We're all going to work toward that vision to accomplish it. Because a lot of times these town halls, I mean, let's face it, that's really just okay, we had one, go ahead and voice your opinion, and then tomorrow I'm going to continue to do the same things that I'm doing. So we really, the true, you had one on here that I think has been a great representative here in our area is Garrett Graves. To me, he truly does listen to the people and cares, and he gets out there and gets the job done as much as possible. I know he can't do everything, but from what I've seen, from my experience of working with him in his office, he really listens to you and he tries to do what his constituents want.
And I think it's, Simon Sinek says it, just because you're a leader doesn't necessarily mean you're in charge. It's to take care of the people that are in your charge, to take care of, you're serving those people to help them, be the best that they can be and get them what they need and get out of the way, So it's one of the things, you've done this, you've had a background, in tourism and spent years. So you've had to learn how to navigate. There's a whole nother, side of things. I remember talking with somebody one time about, jumping into politics, and it's not an easy thing to just jump into because there's procedures, there's process, there's, ways that things have to happen. It's not just something you can kind of just run in and be bull in a china cabinet. So you've done this for a while,
Yes. Yeah, you're correct with that. I mean, a lot of times, well, why can't we just do this? Why can't we just do that? There's a lot of red tape. It is. And when I say, hey, I want to come in and here's my vision, this is what we want to do, there's still a lot of hurdles to jump. And I realize that, what I do in my job now, I deal a lot with state legislators, federal. I'm over the DC Congressional Summit here for the state. I'm the state chair where we lead a delegation of Louisiana people that deals with tourism, economic development. Past 3 years, I've been able to do that. I schedule, with schedulers up in DC. It's been a great eye opener for me to learn the process of getting things done, not just, we're going to go do this and that. No, like you said, there's a process of how to do it. You have to be able to build relationships. It's not about, what I've learned the most, and I guess you would say lobbying or whatever. It's not, hey, Senator such and such, I need this. And you call them whenever you need something, you call them. No, it's building that relationship throughout the year. So when I do need something, I can, hey, such and such, this is JT, man, I'm dealing with this issue here in town. Is this something you could help me with? So it's that surrounding yourself. And I take pride in being able to do that, building relationships with people. That's what I enjoy doing. I already have relationships with people that know how to get it done. I'm not coming in telling you I know how to do everything, and I don't have, I'm not this prideful kind of person. No, it's my way or the highway. Man, I'm gonna reach out to people. I have the connections. I have them in my cell phone where I can give them a call. Hey, I need this. We need this done. Here's some issues I'm dealing with. Are there any federal monies, any grants out there that we can capitalize on and bring them here to our town to improve it? So it's not just about me. It's about surrounding myself with people that can get it done, surrounding myself with employees that I don't have to micromanage, that I know can get the job done, and that have the best interest for the town and our citizens.
Absolutely. I always like to say, if I'm the smartest person in the room, I'm in the wrong room. I need people around me that can, help me, and, I need a hand to keep up. So so what are some of the, everybody's, got their, short list, for, kind of issues, some things, obviously there's something that there's got to be, one or two, maybe three, there's that punch list for you. Like, hey, if I can get in here, this is my, here's my short list. This is what I need to, address, whether it's something personal that you, want to tackle, or you've heard from people that's like, what, hey, I heard from so-and-so, and I just right up there, there's got to be a couple of those, huh?
Yeah, there is. I mean, of course, it's always a long list, and you get in there and there's more than what you thought there was. My main thing, and I may have said it earlier, I mean, the main reason I'm running, and I'm excited to see some other people running as well here in our area, that's done well in their professional career and stuff, and want to get back to their community a lot. So infrastructure is a big thing. Of course, roads, drainage. People always talk about that. That's kind of the number one issue with political leaders. But like you said, a lot of times they get in there and realize, oh, either we don't have the funding to get this done, or, X, Y, Z. I don't know why we can't, but it doesn't get done. It's talked about because that's what people want to hear. Another thing is unity within our departments, working together, working toward the same vision. I always go back to, and I don't take it lightly, and some people may, but I grew up playing sports. And I attribute a lot of my success in my career is in doing that. I was able to play at a college level, and I was actually talking to somebody this morning, and we didn't always agree. I mean, there was guys on my team, we didn't hang out with each other, we didn't like each other, but when we stepped in between the lines, we all had one goal, and that was to win. So we're not always going to agree. Whoever the agency heads or employees or whatever it is, we might not always agree, but we'll sit in that office, that locker room, and we're going to work to something. We're going to compromise, and we're going to get something done, and we're going to come out and work toward that goal and achieve it. So, infrastructure, unity, and then I want to see more community pride. I want to see, with that growth coming, I still want to have that small town feel where, I'm walking on the street, I can say, hey, Mr. Smith, hey, Ms. Smith, how are y'all doing? I still want my kids to be able to go ride their bikes, till I call them in at night and come eat, without feeling, with that safety in mind, with it's not overgrown where my kids can't go out and play basketball, down at their friend's house or whatever. So that's a big thing, that community involvement, community pride, and that comes with beautification. Beautification is a huge thing with me. So I serve on the Keep Livingston Beautiful Board, been serving on that for the past 5 years. And that's something that's, I believe, a lot of people don't put a lot of emphasis on it, but when you come into a town, into a community, and you see the grass is up, waist high, there's trash everywhere. That, to me, when I travel in tourism, that's a big deal. I'm going to the next town to spend my money somewhere else. So I want to see small things like welcome signage, welcome to Livingston. When they leave, hey, thank you for coming, stop back by. Deals like that, where I don't think that's a big thing to get done. It's just putting that priority, making it a priority, importance. If we can't do that, okay, our signage here in town, just small things. If it's crooked, let's straighten it up. Let's clean our signs. Let's have more pride. And when you do that, then your community, then your citizens, they want to get involved and say, hey, JT, I want to help with this or that. I want to be on the garden club. I want to do this. And that's kind of, I guess you asked for three. That's three things that I see.
Well, I think it's the little things that make the world of a difference. It's nowadays, we send emails, we can text somebody, but if you send a handwritten thank you note, the response, that you get, it's completely unheard of. Whereas, 20 years ago, that was just the normal thing to do. Now It's not normal. And so I bring it up because of the little things, like you said, it's when you pull off the interstate, you've got just the overgrown grass, and you've got signs everywhere and things run down. It speaks to the community as a whole, and it may not be that way, but it makes a difference. It's that first impression, that people see all the time. So,
well, I had a buddy that works he works for another municipality, and he said it. I love this analogy, and I use it a lot. It's your town's handshake. When somebody gets off that exit, that's your handshake. Is it trashy? Is the grass high? Okay, well, my first impression, if the grass is cut, flowers around the sign that says welcome to Livingston, that makes a difference to people. When they pull off, when they leave, they're going to say, man, I went to this town. It was a nice little town. Whenever you're driving through, stop by. And one more thing I'll tell you, one of the biggest things that I didn't name is communication and information. There's a lack of communication and information with a lot of governments. I mean, not just here locally, but we need to update our website. We need to utilize social media to communicate to people. We need to utilize text software. We can send out a text when there's an issue in town. Through town, like you said, town meetings, newsletters. There's so many avenues now where there's no excuse. We shouldn't have an excuse why. Well, I didn't hear about the meeting. I didn't know where they were having that. We have all these avenues to make people aware, and I think that's our job as public officials to make people aware. I mean, I want involvement in our meetings. I don't want just one or two people showing up. I'd love to see a packed house. Now, sometimes that can be a little headache, but it's what it is. I mean, we need to hear from our citizens, and so we need to do a better job communicating with them and giving them the information that they need.
I think that's one of the keys to life, if you ask me honestly, is communication. I think, whether it be, with your kids, with your spouse, in business, and especially in politics, the more you can communicate with people, the better. People are used to instant information. If they want to know something, they can go immediately online, and look it up. And when you don't communicate, people, I've learned, and I forget the psychology behind it, but if there's a gap, of information, it's the example I give people all the time is if you look at, John Doe, let's just say politics for right now, and you say, well, I don't know what the mayor makes, for a salary. Well, you can find that out, but when you don't know that, people's tendency is going to go to the extreme. It's like if they're going to fill the void of knowledge with something, and that is not always correct. And usually it's
going to be like you said, it's usually going to be the negative.
It's, like I talk, like a lot of times, the example I've heard, before is like with business owners. It's like, a lot of the employees, they tend to think that the small business owner is like lining, his house with gold bricks because he's just making all this money. But most of the time, that's very few and far between, that is anywhere near that. But it's because of that void of information that people are going to fill. And when it comes to, government, if it's the littlest thing, like you said, it could just be, text message. It could be just a website. Like why,
Yeah, no doubt.
If we go back to our grass analogy, it could be something as simple as, hey, that entrance, somebody down the road, say you get, elected, and then they're reaching out and going, why is the exit ramp? It looks horrible. It's like, well, you talked about it in your campaign, you put the flowers and you can keep it cut. And it's like, well, we communicate better. We could let people know that the mowers are down, or the guy who's supposed to cut the grass. And then that completely changes everything, from that person who goes.
It's not always about communicating the good and positive things. It's about letting them know, hey, why we can't. Hey, look, well, the state won't allow us to do it because of there's certain liabilities, so they won't let our employees. But just giving people that information so they know why we can't, or we're working on it to get it done. And that's all it takes.
I saw a good example of this. I was at a health club up in Tennessee somewhere. It's like in I'd done an Airbnb and just went and stayed somewhere. But I just thought it was, I don't know why I'm thinking about it now. On one of the machines, it was broke in the weight room. But instead of just, typically you see out of order, is what everybody puts on. What they did was it said out of order, part was ordered on, and gave a date, should arrive by date. It took 8 seconds more to write that sign, but instead of it just like, oh, it's broke. It's like, it's broke. We found it. We know it. We ordered the part. We got it fixed, and it should be back, on this date. That turned someone from going, oh, this gym is horrible. All their stuff is broke too. Oh, okay, it'll be fixed on Friday.
But that changed if somebody asks, hey, I need to go stay, I'm heading up to Tennessee somewhere, staying in a bed and breakfast, you're going to recommend them. If they didn't have that note, it would be, well, their gym was out of order, I couldn't work out. But now, hey, it was, but I'm sure it's fixed now because they told me they had the part, they did this and that. So it's just lack of information.
Yeah, that's the key, I think, to all of it, is communicating with people, and especially just the days that we live in now, that no matter what you want, you can go find it online. It's immediate. I think I heard someone talk about, like if you ever wanted to know, when Eddie Van Halen's birthday was, 30 years ago, if you wanted to know when it was, you just like walk around and like ask you like, hey, you a Van Halen fan? You want to know when his birthday is? Oh, I have no idea. It's like you're asking people, and then you finally find that one guy and you get that excitement because somebody's able to tell you. Versus now, there's no you just pull your phone up and go, oh, it's such and such day. You can find everything.
That makes it more difficult for political leaders. It really does. I mean, it's not an easy job. A lot of times they do get the blame, and I hear the analogy, when your sewer's working, you're not going to get credit for it, as a political official or whatever. But when that toilet backs up, for sure you're going to be getting a call right then. And
I used to have a couple of IT companies, and I remember one of the guys that was working for me, he was on the support desk, and he was calling. He did scheduling and coordinating. He was like, everybody, they're aggravated, just nobody calls to say it's working. I'm like, but we're in the business where they call when it's broke. Nobody calls up and is like, hey, everything's working just great. Just wanted to let you know everything's fine. We don't need anything. They call when there's a problem. And so you've got to be able to adapt, to that.
That problem promptly, they will appreciate it. I can promise.
Absolutely. Well, JT, anything else we're missing, before we let you get back to the real work?
Man, I think the main thing, I think it's just, our citizens here have a choice, and we have 3 different candidates, and I'm offering something now in the present. I'm involved in the community. I've been involved in the community. I serve on several boards. I'm not just talking about wanting to do it. The phrase "actions speak louder than words." I mean, you could see what I've done. I've been involved here in my community for ever since I guess for the past 30 years, but I mean, being involved in leadership and stuff for the past, 10 or 15 years, being involved in boards, serving in the community, showing up the trash cleanup day. I've been coaching at our Parks and Recreation here for the past 10 years and will continue to do it. So that's something I have done. I'm involved now. I'm in the present. I do it, and I'm looking to move the town forward and have a vision. And be progressive. We have to be proactive and not reactive, and that's something that one of my messages. We can't just always react to things, and we have to be proactive and have a vision to move forward to improve our overall quality of life. That's what it's all about. For all of our citizens, from the youngest to the oldest. I mean, we need everybody. We're not coming in as young people, be 40 next year. I know I'm young to a lot of people, but not coming in and trying to move everybody out. Hey, we're taking over. No, I need your advice. I need your experience. I'm gonna lean on you when we need something. So it's about everybody just working together, improving that quality of life, making this a place. This is already a great town. I love my town. That's why I want to be involved and make it even better. My website is taylorformayor.com. If you want to go check out my qualifications of what I've done, what I'm currently doing. If you have any questions for me, I believe my phone number is on there, or you can email me. I'd love to come sit down with you. If you're comfortable with it. We know the deal right now with COVID. It's not a lot of, we can't have a big campaign rally, or, if we go knock on doors, we have to be very careful. So that's something different for everybody right now. So I'm aware of it, but please reach out to me. I'm still going to be out. I will be coming door to door, but I'll be very careful. But if you see me in the community, stop me, ask me questions if you got any questions. Yeah. But I'm excited about it, man. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm excited for the future of our town, see what's going to happen.
Well, I'm excited to see how it turns out for you as well, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate Magazine for reaching out to me and giving me this opportunity to kind of share my message and what my vision is.
I think that's important. I think it's, families, that's what they want to know. They want to know, what makes up a person, where's their background, what they're planning. And I think we found this to be a pretty good, format to where people can sit down, easily digest, and hopefully they feel like they know you a little bit better.
Yeah,
Now.
I mean, it's kind of hard to get to know somebody in 20 minutes, but hopefully I'll get to reach out and connect with more people. I mean, I love building relationships with people, talking with people. Sometimes they have to run me off because I'm talking too much, but hopefully they got to learn a little bit about me, and they'll learn more here in the next 3 months. But I definitely I don't want to. I want to ask for everybody. I appreciate your support, your vote on November 3rd. It's coming here. It's going to be here in less than 3 months, so be here before we know it.
Absolutely. All right, sir. Well, let's keep in touch and see what we can do. We'll have you back on, see how things turned out. And if everything goes well,
Yeah, hopefully you'll have a call me as mayor. That's the goal. So
there we go. Well, we appreciate your time, and let me know how we can help.
All right, Brandon, I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
All right.